All right, it is nice and early here in Pahrump. Let's go see what's going on with this car's tire. The tire pressure warning on my rental car went off, so I am not fully sure what's going on there, but I do think it is important to check that out before tomorrow because I may be driving as many as 6 hours. So I will probably be delaying getting back into the park and having to deal with that. All right, so turns out I had a flat, which is kind of what I was expecting. Not the most fun way to start out the day, but I am getting that taken care of right now. Hopefully it doesn't take all that long. The first two places I went to said it would be a 2-hour wait. Then I went to a third and they saw me immediately. So sometimes you just kind of gotta shop around. Apparently there's a lot of business here in town just because in Death Valley getting a flat is so common. So apparently I'm one of many people who is experiencing this situation. Fun. That was actually incredibly fast. It's 8:21 and we're all taken care of. So let's head back to Death Valley. So it is the middle of the day here in Death Valley. I started out the day by heading to Dante's. I think it's called Dante's View. Just checking that out. And now I'm here back at the Oasis at Death Valley. And I ended up getting their lunch buffet, which I've actually devoured about 2/3 of at this point. Is this the healthiest meal in the world? No. But is this a great place to actually do some working and catch up on missed emails? Absolutely. So I'm back out here in Death Valley in the Mesquite Sand Dunes. And this place is really, really cool. I honestly was expecting more of this when I got here. But you know, like a lot of the other stuff in Death Valley is just so much rockier. But now that I've actually gotten to the sand part, it is so otherworldly. Like it feels like you are on another planet that just suddenly turned into another planet. Like it goes from being like barren wasteland to just this insane sand that is out of like a postcard just overnight. It's crazy. Would highly recommend checking this area out. Oh, and also these dunes go on for like what feels like forever. So you could honestly just walk out as long as you wanted to, but I feel like you could get lost like super easily if you're not careful. The other thing that I've noticed, especially here, but basically everywhere in the Death Valley tourist attractions and Joshua Tree, these parks are super popular for people who want to just go out and take selfies. And I noticed this just so much more than, you know, like when you're going skiing. A lot of people are just coming out here just to show that they've been here and to get like pictures. And I think a lot of that is just because of how beautiful it is. But I think another part is just how, you know, like renowned, I guess is the right word for it, a lot of these places are. And it's kind of, you don't really believe it or like register how much of like a selfie, I don't want to use this word, but like selfie epidemic there is in these national parks until you actually see it. The other thing is this is pristine beach quality sand. So of course what that comes with is when you're wearing shoes, that sand will get right in your shoes and you'll have to empty them out as soon as you get out of the sand. But this sand is so freaking hot. I can feel it in my shoes. So you do not want to walk on this sand barefoot. In fact, this would probably, maybe besides the golf flats or whatever they were called, this might be the cruelest place to push someone down. They will burn themselves. So I drove about 50 miles out of the way of everything else to check out this crater. Check out how windy it is. I don't even know if you can hear what I'm saying. This is wild. Woo! Backpack is almost, it feels like it's about to rip right off. I think I am truly starting to register the size of Death Valley National Park. It took me more than an hour to get between the last two attractions, and I'm in the middle of a 2-hour drive to the next one. It is already 5 p.m. and I still have 2 attractions to go. The last 2 are pretty close to each other, but I'm really hoping I can get to both of them before the sun goes down. All right, so I've made it to the second to last destination, which is the Wild Rose Charcoal Kilns. So if you look outside, you can see this is a totally different backdrop than the rest of Death Valley National Park. We're at a way higher elevation. We're actually in what looks like forest land. But this was like an hour-long road to get here, and it's literally just these kilns. Honestly, if you're coming here, it's not worth it. You can technically keep going to get to the trailhead for Telescope Peak, but unfortunately it's recommended for four-wheel drive cars only, and I do not have that, so I will not be going there. And honestly, if you're going to Death Valley for the national park experience, this does not feel like it. Actually, there is one pretty cool thing about being out here, and that is just getting outside. The temperature right now is probably like 68 or 70 degrees according to my car. It was 100 degrees when I was in Death Valley. So if you're looking to cool down, like going up this road and taking that hour detour is actually a pretty interesting experience. But I'll be totally honest, I think maybe it's because I'm so used to the skiing experience. I wish there was a little bit more of a hiking vibe for this park. There's just been so much driving around. I've spent like 95% of the day, maybe even more, in the car. And it would be nice if I could just get the legs moving a little bit. Like, honestly, just walking around right now feels pretty great. I'm like making myself do that just to get some fresh air. But if you're a hiker, I'm not quite sure if this is the park for you. Okay, so I'm in Panamint Springs now. I seem to be pretty close to the final place that I need to go, which is Father Crowley Viewing Point. The sun is going down as we speak, and I don't have any service, so it is TBD whether I make it by the time the sun goes down. So let's go and see. I finally made it. I'm getting this really awesome view of the sun setting over Death Valley. That all being said, this was a ridiculous amount of driving for what were essentially 3 different sightseeing elements. Honestly, I think if you go to Death Valley, you don't really need to see any of these 3 things, and you can just stick to kind of the heart of the park and see the things that are more drivable within that like shorter distance. Death Valley is huge, and you know, like with the kind of responsibility that comes with peak rankings, we do want to check out basically everything. But I'm pretty confident in telling you guys that it is not worth the hour there and the hour back to see any of these more remote areas. You know, it's definitely a cool place to watch a sunset, but there are plenty of other cool places to watch a sunset, and there are other places in the world, maybe even some national parks, that do it a little bit better than this particular site that I'm at right now. With that being said, I've not had cell service in over an hour and a half, and I have not booked lodging for tonight. So what I'm gonna do now is, I do know that the road that I'm on generally goes back to the town I stayed in 3 nights ago. So I will be hopping back in my car and I will be driving down to that town. I think I lost cell service right after I got into that town, so I probably won't have service to be able to book a hotel until around 9. I will assess whether I want to book a hotel there or continue driving, because tomorrow is a transition day before tomorrow night, where I will be landing, so to speak, at Yosemite.